Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on in the markets? Well, we continue to press higher, right? Continue to press up. The market keeps moving higher. Now, a lot of people think that we're hyperinflating, and this could be the start of hyperinflation. We're debasing the currency, which is pushing assets higher. And that's all part of it, right? Now, a lot of people think that we're going to get a crack-up boom. A crack-up boom is the blow-off top at the end of a stock market rally. And we've had a big rally, right? I mean, we've been going nothing but straight up for almost 14 years, right? I mean, it's going to end with a crack-up boom. A lot of people believe that. And that's not off the table. I could see that happening, but I kind of see it more as a topping out pattern right here. We'll see how that plays out. Now, I'm just saying, as long as we stay above the 20-day, this thing can continue to go in a crack-up boom, right? But if we do pull back and the 20-day doesn't hold, well, then we're starting to look for a lower lows. And that's my take. I think we're getting a topping out pattern. But once again, I wouldn't bet against this market. This market is heading higher right now. The momentum is upward. Respect the trend. The trend, anytime you're above the 20-day, above the 50-day, you're heading higher. But I do expect it. We're overbought. We'll probably pull back to that number, back to the 20-day, back to the 50-day. And those would probably be time to actually enter the market unless we break through them. Once we break through them, this has a lot of downside left in it to go. That's just my take. We'll see how that plays out. All right, let's get over to some other areas of the market. Let's start with this. Okay, this is classic, right? Susie Orman, whatever you want to call her. Not a big fan, but she's saying that you can't retire if you have $2 or $3 million. You can't retire. I think this lady's a little bit out of touch with reality. Look at 63% of people don't have $400 for an emergency. You can't retire with $2 to $3 million. She says you need $5 to $10 million before you can retire. Now I'm approaching retirement age. I'm kind of semi-retired now. Still do house transactions, but that's where I make my living. But I really don't work that hard. So I'm at that age where I kind of, want to know how much money I need depending on how long I'll live. Now, Susie Orman says, there's no way I can retire because I don't have $10 million, right? She says I need $10 million. Now, think about that. Let's say you started working at 20 and now you're 60. All right, that's 40 years, right? $10 million, you would have had to save $250,000 a year over those 40 years to get to $10 million. $250,000 a year. Now, do you make $250,000 a year? Let's say you do. Well, taxes are going to take about half of that. All right, so you're down to 125. How do you save that over 40 years? I don't think you can, but if you had $10 million, you could live another 40 years spending $250,000 a year. Now, I think Susie Orman's completely off her rocker here, that you need that much saved, but I'm going to tell you how this is going to save the housing market. Now, how's it going to save the housing market, Tall Mike? Well, there's going to be this transfer of wealth coming. A lot of people don't really think it's going to play out this way, but it's going to be transferring from the boomers to the younger generations. See, the boomers are the ones that are in retirement age now. In 2010, there were approximately 40 million people in the United States over the age of 65, right? And by 2040, that number will double. It'll be 80 million people, or 25% roughly of the population, will be 65 and over. Okay, now there's a big problem. Okay, the big problem is no one can afford to retire because they don't have that Susie Orman thing of $10 million. Now I see what Susie Orman's really getting at. She's getting at the government's going to continue to print money into oblivion, so $10 million is going to pretty much be, you're going to need all $10 million just to go buy the loaf of bread, to buy the cup of coffee. You see, they're going to make money completely worthless. So she may have a point that 2 million is not enough, 3 million is not enough, but 10 million, she's going about this the wrong way. You got to get it into real money and protect yourself from the evil government that's going to just destroy the purchasing power of your money. But we're going to have 25% of the population over the age of 65 come 2040. Okay, that's interesting, but you see that people don't have enough money. Social Security's unfunded. They don't have the money anymore. So there's fewer people working to support the larger population that's getting ready to retire. Retired people don't have enough money. Even if they get Social Security, which they'll get it, it just won't be worth anything. They won't have enough money to retire. Where's their money? Their money's in their house. How do I know this? I am one. I am one of the people getting ready to retire. Where's my money? It's in my house. Liquid money, not all that much. All money's sitting in my house. Now I can sell the house and become liquid, right? And a lot of people are going to have to do that. They're going to dump their house onto the market, and believe me, there'll be a flood of them, and this will lower the prices of house. Now, first one gets out up here with Billy Bob gets out, next one lower, 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 lower. As people retire and they need the money, they're going to put their house on the market, because that's the only place they have the money. There's no way to get the money out of the house. They can't refi because it's at 7.5%, 8%. Even a HELOC loan is going to run them 10, 12%, right? So to get the money to retire upon, they got to sell the property. Now, a lot of people say, but Mike, I could never sell my property. I wouldn't have anywhere to live. Well, they move into old folks' home. Now, some people, a lot of them are starting to die off. Believe me, I got a lot of friends that have already passed away. Their houses have already gone onto the marketplace. And this is just speeding up. It's speeding up. As I get older, more and more of my friends pass away. More and more of their houses go onto the marketplace. How do I know this? I'm a real estate broker. They call me up and they say, Mike, I got to sell my house. I need to retire. I can't work anymore. I don't have the energy to work. So I put my house onto the marketplace, right, to get money so that I can retire. You see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, now what's really in trouble is the Social Security system completely flat broke, right? There's no money in there for you. You paid in for the last 40, 50 years, but there's no money in there. They have to print the money, and they're going to print the money. Don't get me wrong, they're going to print it. It's $120 trillion unfunded liabilities. We're going to add that to the 35 trillion, be over $150 trillion when this is all said and done. Well, how much is money going to be worth? It's not going to be worth anything, and that's why you got to protect yourself. Get some gold, get some silver. Those are going parabolic right now. Maybe wait for a pullback. They're getting a little expensive also, and they will pull back. Nothing goes straight up forever, but right now they've gone a little bit parabolic. I do expect a pullback. I'm hoping it comes down to 2,000 on gold again. I don't think it will, but I'm hoping it does. I'd like to stock up some more, right? Because I'm at the retirement age. I want to protect my retirement. Now, who did not protect their retirement funds? I want to talk about this a little bit. Pensions. Pensions did not protect you in the retirement funds. Let's say you have a pension, right? And a lot of people have pensions. In California, CalPERS is the big pension, right? If you were a teacher, fireman, whatever your job was, you're expecting to get a pension. Well, guess what? These pensions don't have your money. They're out of money again, right? They're underfunded. Underfunded by how much? Well, all the pensions, you combine together, about 5 trillion. 5 trillion. But that's a drop in the bucket, right? I mean, the federal government can print that and bail them all out, and that's probably what will happen. You don't mind paying for, my retirement or someone else's retirement. You may not have a retirement, but they have a retirement because they have a pension. They'll get bailed out by the government. You may not have gone to college, but you have to pay for the kids that did go to college because they don't want to pay their student loan back. You don't mind paying for their college, right? Maybe you didn't go to college. Maybe you went to a trade school instead. Maybe you paid your way through college. But you don't mind paying their college, do you? I mean, they got a better job because of it, and well, you should have to pay for their better job, right? Just like you should have to pay for the retirement just because their pensions are broke, right? Now, you don't mind paying my credit card bill. Now, if you don't mind paying the credit card bill, hit the heart button below and donate to Mike's credit card bill. Why not? I spent the money, but you don't mind paying for it. That's the type of society we're becoming right now. Everybody gets a trophy. Nobody's accountable. Nobody's responsible. Look at the pension funds funds, $5 trillion underfunded. Now, how is that even possible? How's that possible? I don't really understand. Look at assets record high, right? Stock market record high. Real estate prices record high. But how are these pensions $5 trillion underfunded? Well, what they did is they went the safe route, right? They put the money into bonds. They did the same thing the banks did, same thing the insurance company did, same thing the pension funds did. So they're all going down right now. They're all crying because they've lost your money. They've lost 30, 40% of your money because they thought they were playing it safe. They put the money into bonds. They put the money into commercial real estate loans. They thought this was safe. Well, what's happened is those have dropped 30, 40, 50%. They've lost half of your money. Half of your retirement money's gone. If you have a pension out there, you're not going to get your full pension. I'm telling you, it's going to play out that way. Now, maybe the government comes in, bails them all out, but this is just, it's just wrong, right? I mean, why should we bail you out, right? I mean, I don't have a pension. Why do I have to pay for your pension? Look, I paid for my college. Why do I have to pay for your college? Look, I ran up the credit cards. Why should you pay for my credit cards? This is just a direction the society's going in, right? It's called socialism, right? Okay, now socialism doesn't work. It's the decay of our society. And we're seeing that everywhere. I see it with the homeless situation. A lot of people are homeless now because you got no price discovery and things. People don't know what things cost anymore because nobody knows, because everybody gets bailed out. It's distortion. Price distortions are out there, right? So a lot of the people that's hurting the middle class becomes poor, the poor becomes homeless. Now the rich get extremely rich, richer and richer and richer. If you have the assets, you become wealthy. You become rich. If you have the gold and silver, you're going to become rich. I'm telling you. They're going to keep printing money until this thing blows up. But the problem is that all these pension funds are underfunded by $5 trillion. Now, what percent of pension funds do you think are underfunded? Well, if I were going to estimate, I'd say right around 100% of them. All of them. They're all underfunded. How many banks are insolvent? All the banks are insolvent. There's not one bank out there that's solvent. They don't have your money. They went conservative, right? They went into bonds. Bonds lost 40%. They went in commercial real estate. Commercial real estate lost 50%. So now you got these pension funds. They're all underfunded by $5 trillion, right? $5 trillion. What are they doing now? Well, now they're taking the risk. They're going into risk assets. What are they going into, Tall Mike? Well, they're going into things like Bitcoin, right? But they're not just doing regular Bitcoin. Let's get levered up on Bitcoin. We need some leverage. We need some cryptos. We need to make up the $5 trillion that we lost. Assets are up here at record highs, but we lost $5 trillion of your money. There is no pension for you. There's not going to be a happy retirement for you. Now, a lot of these things are going to get bailed out. It's just the way that it works. But you got retired people now. They got retired people. And retired people, well, some retired people have a house, but they have no money, right? And retired people are getting hurt. Oh, they're getting hurt. All right, now, the federal government, they'll tell you inflation's running, what, 3-4%, let's call it. Hey, that's such a lie. It just isn't right telling you that. But okay, I'd say it's 8 to 10%. But what does that do to a retired person? Well, they stop working, and their money is going down in purchasing power by 10%. Yeah, they get their Social Security check, but it gets 10% less buying power. They go to the grocery store. Look at groceries up 37% just in the last 2 years. That Social Security check doesn't stretch as far. The retirement person, he's going to be homeless. He's going to have a choice, get a roof over his head or eat. He's going to go the homeless route. It's crushing him. It's destroying him. He's going to have to sell his home, put it onto the marketplace, and this is going to create what I would call the 40 to 50% collapse in home prices. Now, you can say that's not going to happen, and that's fine. Moon boys think we're going to double from here. I'm telling you, the demographics is set up in such a way that, well, the boomers, they start to die off, but they also start to retire. They have no money. They get desperate because of the inflation, right? The inflation. They can't get money out of the house. They sell the house. This is just what I'm seeing. I get the phone calls all the time. People call me up. Got another listing just over the weekend, right? It's Awesome, right? Great for business. Okay, so, it's time to dump the home on the market so that they can get the money to retire. And that's going to be commonplace, but it's not seeing the trend going forward. You can buy a house up here, and I'm not going to stop you. I'd even encourage it. Us real estate brokers, we could use the business, right? So go ahead and buy a house up here. That'd be really good. But you're going to be the bag holder. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be holding the bag because you don't see the macro picture, the demographics going forward are telling you that all these boomers are going to be, well, they're the ones that own the houses. They're the ones that have them right now. They're going to be transferring them down to the next generations, the millennials, the Gen Z, the Gen Xs, whatever they're called these days. But they're going to be transferring their houses down. It's called the Great Wealth Transfer. A lot of their wealth is going to be transferred to the old folks' home, to the hospitals, to the big pharmacies. That's who's going to get most of the wealth. But they're going to be selling their homes, and that's going to put downward pressure. If you want to sell your home, I suggest you do it soon because the prices are starting to drop in many areas, and that's going to pick up speed as we start to circle the drain. And believe me, we're going to be circling the drain really soon. Once again, this is just my take, and I'm Tall Mike. You like this stuff? Give me the thumbs up, punch the subscribe button, get out there, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk again later in the week. Bye-bye.